There are battles fought with bullets, and there are battles won with nothing but boldness and bamboo. In the dense jungles and rolling hills of the Spanish-occupied Philippines, there were men who didn't wait for rifles or foreign help. They carved their defiance from the forests around them. They used smoke, shadows, and sound to reshape reality. And one of them, a nameless revolutionary in a forgotten village, fooled a Spanish colonel into retreat with a cannon made of bamboo, mud, and guts. This isn't just a war story. This is a tribute to Filipino cunning, to rebellion without resources, and to the moment when an empire flinched at an illusion. The Philippine Revolution had erupted like a volcano. From Cavite to Laguna, Batangas to Bulacan, pockets of resistance had sprung up. But weapons were scarce. Most revolutionaries had bolos, courage, and little else. They did have something just as powerful: the mind of a trickster. In one remote town in southern Luzon, a group of Katipunan fighters found themselves cornered. A column of Spanish forces, led by a seasoned colonel known for brutal crackdowns, was marching toward their position. The town had no rifles, no gunpowder, and no reinforcements. What they had was bamboo. The plan was as wild as it was desperate. Construct fake cannons out of thick bamboo poles, mount them on wooden carts, and roll them to the front lines. Use smoke to sell the illusion. Stuff the barrels with damp leaves and sap, and ignite them to make a loud, believable boom. The town blacksmith, normally busy sharpening bolos, was put to work fashioning metal bands to wrap around the bamboo, just for visual effect. They even painted charcoal marks on the surface to simulate powder burns. There would be no real firepower, just fear. The trick wasn't in the cannon. It was in the show. Colonel Montalvo was no fool, or so he thought. A veteran of battles in Mindoro and the Visayas, he had seen ambushes and insurrections. But as he crested the ridge and looked through his spyglass into the valley below, he saw what appeared to be artillery. 3 cannons, hidden just enough to be ominous. Smoke rising, shadows shifting behind them. The unmistakable crack of something being fired echoed through the valley. He froze. The last thing he wanted was to march his men into a crossfire. Artillery meant trained forces. It meant he wasn't just chasing barefoot rebels. He was facing a threat that could tear through a regiment. He ordered a halt. Then, he ordered a retreat. The revolutionaries couldn't believe it. They had braced for death. Instead, they watched an army vanish into the trees. Word spread quickly, first in whispers, then in songs. That town became a symbol not of military strength, but of tactical genius. A village that beat a regiment with nothing but bamboo and bravado. Other rebel groups began replicating the trick. Soon, bamboo cannons, some working, most not, became part of the Katipunan doctrine. Even when they didn't fire, they inspired. The Spanish feared ghosts in the jungle. Now, they feared cannons that may or may not be real. Long after the battle, remnants of that bamboo cannon were preserved, though never officially. Locals passed down pieces like family heirlooms. Some claimed they still had the rope that tied it. Others swore they had the original axle. None of that mattered. What mattered was the lesson. You don't need to match your enemy's firepower. You just need to make him doubt his next step. This wasn't just a tactical win. It was psychological warfare, Filipino style. The kind that makes history, even if the textbooks forget your name. We often think of courage as standing tall with a weapon in hand. But real courage can also be hidden in the smoke, carved into bamboo, and whispered through the leaves. The Filipino who fooled a colonel with a bamboo cannon may never be named in schoolbooks. But he lives on in every quiet act of resistance. In every bluff that saves lives. In every moment when faith and creativity defeat fear. That colonel left the battlefield embarrassed. But the village? It stood tall, without firing a single bullet.